Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel, and also welcome back to our Animal Crossing Let's Play. It's been about 2 weeks since I've recorded anything because I just got back from my vacation. I had an awesome time, but I'm super excited to get back into it. And like I promised in I think the last episode or the second to last episode, when I get back from my vacation, we are literally going to finally focus on the decorating. But also in order to do that, I said that we were going to kind of focus a little bit on villager backstories, or generally like a storyline and a bit of a like area outline idea for every villager. And that is exactly what we're going to be doing today. So we're going to switch over to Canva in a second and kind of for each villager create like a separate little mood board, or I would also kind of call it a cheat sheet, just because there's always a bit of time in between my recordings, so I kind of forget where we left things off and kind of what our plans were. And so if we now have one of those little kind of mood board things for each villager, it will be much easier for me to dive back in. So I'm really excited to do that. And at this point, thank you all so much for your recommendations as well. I've had some lovely input on the villager backstories, which we are going to work in today. So without further ado, let's go ahead and switch over. Here we are. So you might remember this is actually the mood board that we did for Kalon way earlier in the Let's Play. Although to be fair, it is not really a mood board. It's mostly just putting all the stuff that we might use and that we kind of want to keep in mind onto like a piece of paper, or like onto a page, I guess, which can be super handy though. I have gone over to kind of make my mood boards a little bit prettier, I would say. And I actually wanted to do that for Kalon as well, but I kind of just forgot and I just kept procrastinating it. But I did kind of start it. So this is kind of what I do now. I think my Hokkaido mood board is kind of a good example. So I kind of go over to have like the name just as like a big focus point, and then I try to, obviously include a few colors, and then I've put a lot of like very big item pictures on here. And then for the Kalon version of it, I think I just left the pictures a little bit too small. Plus, I think the villagers are much too small, especially considering we're giving them backstories and we're making them like a huge part of this island. I think I will have to redo this and kind of make the villager pictures much bigger, and yeah, just kind of therefore make it a little bit more aesthetic and also make more sense, I guess. I will not do that in the video though, because a lot of it is just dragging stuff around, which will be like me sitting here in shrimp position, just kind of like angrily looking at the screen and dragging stuff. So I will try and do that off video and then hopefully give you an update soon. But today, like I said, we are going to focus on villagers. Now, I already prepared just a little something because I copy pasted your comments in here. I also did screenshot them, so I'll try and show them on the screen. But I would say we're going to tackle each villager, and we're basically just going to write a few bullet points as to what their backstory is, and maybe note down a couple of like ideas for the areas that we're going to create. So the very first one would be Gala, actually. I think she is right, like very close to the entrance. So I'm going to keep this as the background. Actually, do I maybe have the picture of our entrance here? Oh, I do. Okay, there it is. Also, for anyone who does not know Canva, this is not sponsored, by the way. Unfortunately, Canva, if you hear this, please sponsor me. I absolutely love Canva so much. But basically, it's like a free online like web design tool in a way. There is like a pro plan for it, which I am subscribed to, but you can do a whole bunch of stuff for free as well. And they did also just have a giant update and like included a lot of new features. So that's definitely something to keep in mind. Okay, so here we've got little Gala. I'm gonna make this like relatively big. I might like shift it back into like a more like a prettier, more aesthetic kind of layout later on. But for now, let's just have the information on here. Right, very brief recap. Kalon is supposed to be a romantic coastal retreat. So it's basically a place where a lot of people who have felt like burnt out or depressed or just unhappy with the life that they were leading went to kind of find their happy place and kind of reconnect with their soul, if you will. That's kind of like the thought behind it. So each one of these villagers will have a certain backstory, like a certain passion that they had but didn't turn out the way they wanted to. So they moved to this place to then reconnect with that passion and maybe do it in a bit of a different way and kind of lead a life that's not as focused on having to kind of earn money to sustain living, just because this island really is like a community effort, apart from the fact that obviously we're the ones doing all the work. But anyway, basically that's kind of the entire thought behind it. So this is gonna be, I hope, very wholesome and sweet. All right, so for Gala, someone said, Gala has always had depression. It's been a battle she's constantly fought. Lately, it's been too much for her to handle alone, so her mom recommended she move here to find support among other tired souls. She's found a love for flowers and lives day by day to see new blossoms in her garden. I absolutely love this. So we already had the idea of giving her a little flower garden. She does live relatively close to the entrance and the peninsula, so I really like this idea. I think it's very relatable too. It's just that Gala has probably struggled with finding her way in life and finding like her path, and at some point, and I thought this was a sweet touch to have like supportive parents tell her and like give her advice on, you know, just trying like a different way of life, which Kalon is going to be. All right, so let's say struggles with depression. And then maybe something like was craving a supportive community, you know, because it was like a bit too much for her to handle alone. So she kind of wanted to have like a community of people who kind of have similar experiences maybe. And then she wanted to find a passion that would kind of feed her soul, reconnect her with like the simple joys in life. And then I would definitely say, so she lives very close to the ocean as well. So I feel like we could kind of include that too and be like, you know, the ocean kind of helped her already. So she found her love for flowers and also for taking care of them. So maybe she opened like a little flower shop or like just a flower garden. And because she wants to kind of spread that joy, she just kind of trades those flowers with other people for like whatever they offer. So like for Flurry, we already talked about her having like a little cafe. So, you know, she does trade like fresh flowers with like baked goods. I feel like that's a good trade, right? All right, so Gala struggles with depression, was craving a supportive community, and trying to find her passion and reconnect with the simple joys in life. She lives by the ocean, which has already done wonders for her mental health, and she found a love for flowers and taking care of those, and therefore opened a little flower shop or flower garden by the ocean. And now she trades flowers with the other villagers to spread that joy and, you know, do something for the community, I guess. So that's kind of her story. I feel like that's kind of cute. Right, so now, obviously for her, I feel like this is super easy. I'm going to just do like words for now. Like I'm just gonna write down like certain item ideas or something, and then I might add like the pictures of those. So obviously we're thinking flowers. We're gonna stick to our like color scheme, of course, but we're gonna do little flowers. And then we're gonna do it garden-like, which kind of means like we could add seed bags and watering cans. Maybe we could do the, what is it called? The Cosmo shower and kind of things like that. I'm gonna use like different fencing. We might also do like a bit of a certain like stall or just kind of like an area where you could technically purchase. We're not gonna really do like purchasing stuff. That's just for the tourists, you know, the people that come to this island to have a bit of that slice of like calm life. They still need to somewhat earn money, right? So like the tourists have to pay, but like within the island they just kind of trade stuff and give it to others for free just because they're all craving that life. So, you know, but we're gonna do like a little bit of a stall moment to showcase a few of the flowers that she's got. Stall, or maybe like a table display, whatever we want to call it. I definitely have the potted starter plants in mind, and maybe like the garden wagon. I'm not sure if the colors work, but I think there is a white version for that one. And then maybe for her interior, we could also kind of focus on her love of the sea. Love? Oh my god, love. Wow, not embarrassing at all. You know, and just include like a few shells, or maybe she could have like a, I don't know, like a bottled ship, you know, just kind of like little trinkets to kind of show that she's also fallen in love with the ocean itself, and that being close to the sea and close to the ocean and the beach and stuff has also kind of helped her. Oh, we could actually do a little sand castle, not inside her house, more like outside probably. Okay, so flowers and flower-like items too. So like the lilies, or we could do the anthurium plant. It's supposed to be garden-like, so there can be like a bunch of those added details, such as like seed bags and watering cans. We're going to include fencing just because I feel like fencing is great. A stall or a table display. I'm going to have to check like spacing wise because she does not have the biggest area, but we could actually also bring that over to to the left of her house. All right, so the next ones I think I want to do is going to be Tutu and Flurry. They're gonna live together, so we're gonna they're living close to each other, so I feel like we're gonna put them both on the same page. Okay, let's start with Tutu. So for Tutu, I actually got a few different ideas and recommendations. So one of them was she's always wanted to live quietly, and after being forced to sell her musical soul for a big record label, she felt betrayed by those close to her. She left all that behind and is now trying to find the good in life again. Something else also, I think I forgot to copy paste it here because it was a very new comment, but someone also referenced her picture, which is in a cheerleader outfit. So they were maybe she was a cheerleader and she kind of left that one behind. And then I think my personal favorite is she was a really famous ballerina because of her name, Tutu, but because of the fame, she was so busy all the time that she couldn't handle it anymore, and that's why she came to relax on Kalon. For her house, you could do a ballet studio to learn ballet. I think that is a beautiful idea. Obviously, I feel like we could still kind of incorporate the cheerleading idea into this. She did some cheerleading in high school, as well, and then I think it could still include a few of the record label parts too, where she just kind of felt betrayed by the people that were close to her because she was kind of famous and super busy, and it felt like she didn't really make deep connections. Right. And then before we completely write this down, I just wanted to briefly include my idea that I had for Flurry, because for me, Flurry, for some reason, is super into baking. She is a normal villager, so she oftentimes talks about her passion for baking and cooking and all that kind of stuff. So I feel like that would be her love language, is to cook food for others, acts of service and gift giving kind of combined, I would say. So I want to have a little cafe, and then I put Flurry and Tutu together because I feel like they could be somewhat of they could have a sibling-like relationship, but they're not really siblings, And so I had an idea of them being foster sisters or something like that. But now with this idea of the ballerina, something else came to mind. And it was kind of that, they could both have a certain background. Either they did live in foster care, or they just grew up not really having a good relationship with their parents, not really having the most supportive household. And so this is something they can bond over later. And then basically Flurry has always been into kind of baking and cooking. So she wanted to work in that business, and she worked in kind of a catering service thing. And Tutu, being a ballerina, obviously danced at these huge events and stuff. And so at one point they met right there because Tutu was a dancer and Flurry was kind of with the catering service. And I don't know, maybe they bumped into each other. It could have been a little meet cute, but sister relationship wise, and then they just kind of got to talking at some point, and they discovered that they have a lot of similar experiences in life, and they somewhat bonded over that, and they just grew to be the best friends, even though they are quite different in a lot of ways. And now they're just always sticking together because they kind of found family in each other. I don't know, I feel like that's making me quite emotional. It could be something kind of cute. And then maybe because Tutu felt being a famous ballerina, it was too busy and it kind of sucked all of her joy out of it. She just couldn't enjoy her passion anymore because it was always just about performance. And same thing happened for Flurry. She kind of almost lost her joy for cooking and baking because everything was filled with so much pressure and so much work. And so they decided to move on to Kalon and opened a little cafe together. And not only that, but Tutu maybe has a little ballet studio where other villagers on the island can learn ballet or other types of dances. And they also kind of do that together. So maybe Flurry does the management or something like that, So I kind of really want them to have this sibling kind of vibe and kind of to take care of the cafe and stuff together, so we can really create a beautiful area for them together. Okay, let's put that into words. All right, so Tutu was a famous ballerina, but it was way too stressful for her. There is a typo right here, there we go. Her joy for dancing therefore started to fade, and because of that busy lifestyle, she also had no real friends and felt very lonely. And as for her interior, just as a note for us later on, it is going to be like a ballet studio or like dance studio to teach others. Flurry loves baking and wants to bring others joy with her baking, because her love languages in terms of what she likes to give others and how she shows her love is acts of service and gift giving. And she worked in catering, which absolutely drained her. Okay, and then I wrote down, met at an event, bumped into each other or other, and they both come from a non-supportive background, which was basically how they really related to each other, and therefore found family in each other as kind of like sisters, and then opened a cafe and ballet studio together. And I think the ballet studio is going to be mostly Tutu's interior, and then maybe we could do like a few cute details, whereas, you know, she left some ballet slippers at Flurry's place, or they both have like pictures of each other up, you know, those types of things to really drive that relationship home. Right, so that just as a little note for me in a second. And then the outside is going to be mostly the cafe. So I'm thinking different like table and chair setups, and make it like a very eclectic. Obviously we need to have like a counter space too. And now with including Tutu in the mix, I think we're going to have a bit more of an open space and like a bit more space to work with and bring this to life. And then lots of cakes. I definitely want to focus on like the baking part. I'm gonna check, maybe we can actually give them a little like tiny orchard in like their backyard, so they use like fresh fruit and stuff. Although at the same time, I will say that obviously there's going to be like probably a type of orchard or a type of like farmy area on the island, and everyone can use stuff from there. So it could also just be them using that stuff, and they don't necessarily need to have a tiny orchard. So I'm gonna put this into brackets with like a question mark. Right, so we could use like a few different things. We could use like those tables with the umbrellas. We could use a whole bunch of like different cafe type tables. I'm thinking we can do simple stools, Moroccan footrest, like all types of different tables really. Probably also, you know, cash register just for the tourists again. All that kind of stuff. And we could also give them a tiny behind the scenes or like behind the house. We could do like the bakery part, you know, put up like a kitchen or that type of stuff. Actually, Flurry's interior could be the bakery, and then she sells it on the outside. Or she does both. She sells it inside and outside. That could be cute. I actually want to take on the challenge. So the villager homes are super tiny, right? But I kind of almost want to take on the challenge of giving them like a tiny living space, like at least a bed, and then also bring across like the store that they have. We're gonna try that. Okay, so I'm gonna write down cozy homes, and then we're gonna do ballet studio and bakery. Items from each other, pictures, that's fine. And technically there could still be like a bakery part outside, depending also on how much space there is. I know this is like very close to the pond, like to the lake, so there's not going to be that much space, I don't think. Again, I'm going to add some more items to hopefully be able to visualize it a bit more. But for now, let's move on to the next one, which is going to be T-Bone, who lives behind my house. All right, for T-Bone, someone said, T-Bone seems like someone who would own a bookstore and love to read alone on their free time, which I think is quite cute. I did also get a very similar thing for Daily though, which I almost feel like it fits a bit better for him. So for T-Bone, I currently don't have like the clearest view of his backstory, but what I could kind of imagine for T-Bone is that maybe he's somewhat struggled with toxic masculinity in a sense that people always expected him to be strong and to be the person who doesn't, or the bull, who doesn't show any emotions, you know, all that kind of nonsense that people think men are supposed to be. And so people and like maybe his family wanted him to go into a job that he didn't enjoy just because it fit, you know, his persona and the way he looks and stuff like that. But luckily, T-Bone decided it was too much and realized that, you know, all those expectations are absolute nonsense. And so he decided to move on to Kalon. Like he heard about this community project and about like different people with different backgrounds coming together, just accepting who the other people are and kind of working together. And he thought, maybe this is the moment, you know, for me to just be who I am. And it is. And so he moved on to Kalon, but he was very like not trusting of others because he, once again, he didn't want to be hurt, you know, he just didn't want to be put into that box again and misjudged just because of the way he looks or something like that. And so he moved like very far away from everyone else, all the way out to the lake, kind of sheltered behind a cliff. And he almost didn't want to talk to anyone. He almost wanted to make this his own like private experience and just be a loner, you know? However, as we've already, I think, briefly talked about in the Let's Play, Flurry would not allow that. You know, Flurry is a very sweet soul. She just like went over there, knocked on the door, and brought him some cake. And he was very like distant at first, but over time he understood that Flurry just accepts him the way that he is, and they ended up having some really like deep conversations. And Flurry showed him that he is perfect the way he is, and that he's welcome to be emotional and just however he wants to be, pretty much, and do whatever job or profession or have whatever hobby he wants to have, pretty much. Right, let me write that down. Okay, so grew up with people misjudging him and putting him in a box. He had to be strong, show no emotions, and work a job that he didn't like. And he just wants to be accepted for who he is and find his passion, which was kind of his motivation to move on to Kalon. And he wanted to be a loner at first just because he was afraid of, again, being misjudged. But then Flurry continuously brought cake and they became friends because he was able to open up to her and just be himself. I also wrote "and more?" because I do kind of think that they would be a cute couple, so we might also bring that along, kind of add Flurry's picture to T-Bone's home, small little details like that. And then how about we take this concept of him like having to pretend to be someone else his entire life and just make him out to be someone who is still trying to find his passion. He still doesn't know fully what he wants to do. And therefore we could include like a few different items or a few different like aspects, and include maybe a few hobbies, as though he's like, he tried painting or he tried to do some clay work. He also tried to work with flowers or stuff like that. And something I would almost love to include, because I think that no matter what he does, it's clear that he has a very like gentle soul, and he's just a very, very gentle and kind, I was gonna say human, but no, he's a bull. And then maybe he's just someone who like takes care of animals and just loves to help out in whichever way he can. I think this might be a little confusing, but I just feel like T-Bone, once he realizes that he can be who he wants to be on this island, he grows into this super friendly neighbor who just wants to help everyone around him. And so he has a bunch of books regarding like different topics, and he reads up on a lot of different subjects so that he can help pretty much everyone on the island. And maybe he finds like joy in some crafting just to help others kind of fix stuff around their place or something like that. So maybe for him, we're gonna do almost like a little eclectic kind of hobby situation, and we're gonna put a lot of like different animals, and then also give him, we could do like a little shed on the beach where he like stores a whole bunch of stuff like shovels and, oh, actually that sounds kind of creepy, but like just to help others with gardening and stuff, you know? Do not get any wrong ideas, right? He is a very sweet soul, I told you. Oh, and turtles too. We talked about a turtle sanctuary before. This would be the perfect place. We could give him all of that. That is very cute. I love that. Okay, let me know what you think about T-Bone's story in the comments below, because this one is kind of just my brain exploded there. I don't know what happened. Okay, so we got 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's do one more villager in this video, and then we're gonna do the other 5 in another episode, so this doesn't get too long. I do hope, by the way, that this is in any way, shape, or form interesting. I'm having a lot of fun. I love coming up with storylines like this. I think that is cute as heck. I think my mouse just died. I'm gonna have to get like a new battery. Hold on. Okay, we are back. Perfect. But yeah, I think this is a lot of fun to come up with these storylines and to just kind of have like certain ideas for this. And it also, I feel like, makes the entire Let's Play come to life a bit more. And I think it will make the storytelling a lot more awesome as well, if like in the future we ever see T-Bone and Flurry interacting and it'll be heckin' cute, or, you know, similar things. Okay, and then I think next up is gonna be Dotty. I don't have her house placed yet. I think in terms of like houses placed, the ones that we did before, the 4 are the only ones we have placed so far. But I think Dotty, let me change that. Dotty, it could be someone we place somewhere to the left of the entrance. I think we wanted to do the shops there, but then further on, so she kind of has a certain area of the beach. You will see in a second why. Okay, so for Dotty, someone said, what if she was a world-class athlete that injured herself and abruptly ended her career? So now she's trying to get herself back into shape physically, mentally, and emotionally. She could maybe be in charge of like a bike shop or a yoga area, like she still wants to be active. This kind of came to life because she kept working out and she kept doing yoga every single time. And I think this is perfect. I think this is super, super cute. So I'm honestly just going to take that and make that her story. So she was a world-class athlete, or just someone who was very into fitness and being healthy and being like super, super active. But yeah, then an injury ended that career and she needed to find something that would kind of anchor her and that would give her more strength, new strength. And so she found out about the community project on Kalon. It is close to the beach, so it's perfect to kind of try and take things slow and rejuvenate and get back into shape. I think that is a very sweet way of phrasing this too, because physically, mentally, and emotionally, I can definitely imagine that to be true. And I think we're going to give her a yoga studio at the beach, and maybe she will have some other stuff too, like a bike area, but we could make it, because I feel like a lot of the very, very sporty things are not as cute, but we could just use like the cruiser bikes. And then she has like a bike rental store, like a bike shop. Again, she just kind of trades that service with the other islanders, but whenever tourists come around, you know. All right, so was a world-class athlete, injury ended her career, which was her passion. So she's trying to get back into shape physically, mentally, and emotionally. Love that. So I just took that in here. And then she will have a yoga studio by the beach to the left of the shops and the resident services, and like a bike rental and other sport activities. At least, you know, if she can't do stuff herself, at least she maybe wants to teach others, which I think is very sweet. So as items, obviously we're going to use the yoga mat, and then maybe like that bamboo basket, I think it's called, which kind of looks like rolled up yoga mats, which I think is cute. We're gonna use cruiser bikes, maybe some like balls too, like a volleyball or something similar. She could also maybe teach swimming, so we could do like a little swimming area by the beach too. And we could also maybe give her, depending on how big the area is, like a healthy quote unquote bar. She could, I don't know, she could sell like smoothies and salads. And then just for the record, obviously her and Flurry get along very well. You know, it's all about balance. It is all about balance. There is absolutely need for cake every once in a while. Right, I don't really know what to do for her house, like on the inside. We could obviously just give her a cute little living area where she also has maybe like a yoga mat and a couple of other like low impact kind of workout things. That could be an option. But I think as far as this goes, I'm pretty sure that with like these items and with this thought in mind, we have like a quite decent amount of stuff that we can put around her house and really create like an awesome area. All right, so we've got Dotty, T-Bone, Flurry and Tutu, and Gala. Definitely do let me know down below if you have any more things you would like to add on to these people or these villagers, and I will definitely add it in. I will also add these like mood board type things or like little cheat sheets, cards, whatever, onto my website, which I will also link down below in the description box, and I will try to remember to do a pinned comment too. And then next time we still have to focus on Hornsby, Daly, and Pate, who I do already have a little bit of input from you all, and Daisy and Alice, who I actually don't have an idea for just yet. So Daisy and Alice, if you have any ideas, let me know down below. And then you know what, I think it's been quite a while already, so I will finish these off video and show you the finished results in one of the next episodes, in which there's just going to be like regular decorating going on, and you can also see them on my website as soon as they're finished. All right, and I think that's gonna be it for this video. I hope you enjoyed this like slightly different video today, and that you had fun kind of diving into those backstories with me. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up if you did, and I will hopefully see you again in the next episode. Bye everyone.